They say an apple never falls far from the tree, right? Today, the apple tree is here, and the apple really fell close. This episode, Bacons, is very dear to my heart because I'm filming it alongside one very important and special person to my life. Uh, I don't know. I think we should do the honors and introduce himself to us, right? Wait for it. Drum rolls. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for doing this with us. We appreciate the time, even the short notice and all the inconveniences. We're grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Can you tell us about yourself, please?
Well, thank you very much. Talking about myself, I'll simply say I am Papa Lori, yourself, because when children meet me on the street, they refer to me as Papa Loretta. See, but well, for emphasis and recognition, my name is Dr. Adams Oshobuge Ojo. I am sure I'm a Nigerian, and I think I'm a Nigerian. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, he has put it very mildly. He has put it. I think he's just being very humble, right? Looking back, I feel like, well, I'm nervous right now. Well, the first time in forever because I am sitting beside a great mind, a genius really. I'm sitting beside someone who moved things around to be who he is today. And when I thought about the topic that would really speak to this conversation, what came to my mind was three words: legacy conscious parenting. Because for us when we were growing up, he always he always emphasized the future. He always talked about living today with tomorrow in mind. He's that person who formed the brick and mortar of who I am today. There was never any break wherein he won't say, go and learn something. There was never any time he would allow you just sit and just fold your arms. He always was, I don't know, should we call him a futurist? He always was projecting into the future and saying, no, you need to learn so and so skills so that this can happen. And that's why he's will I say the best person to speak about legacy conscious parenting so that you Beacons will learn firsthand really. I know I've been amazing, right? If I do say so myself, he raised me alongside my mom. So today we'll go really quickly into the episodes as usual. We have a number of questions lined up. Let me not get in the way of this awesomeness, right? Correct. Can we just go right in? Let's not hold back, right?
You're where to go.
Okay, the first question is: can you share your definition of legacy conscious parenting and why it is important in today's world?
Well, let us not be carried away by big grammar. Peretti simply put is all the cautious attitudes, techniques a parent puts in raising the child or the children. Um, when you now talk about legacy, legacy is an indelible mark you hope to put on anything. And when you talk about cautiousness, it means that while you're operating, you are cautious, you are being guided by certain principles of what you think that child will become. You are working with a model you never can define at that moment. The child could be anything. The only certain thing about the child as at the moment is that your child, your son, your daughter has come to the world. It is your responsibility to cater for that child. If you are not cautious of what the child may become tomorrow, you may be forced to abandon the child, either physical abandonment, mental abandonment, or social. In other words, you do not show much concern about the child. But when you have a plan, you have an idea, you are cautious that this child should make a difference, then we can quickly refer to these processes as conscious parenting with certain heights meant to be achieved, and that is the legacy.
That's really profound. That's really, really profound. You see, when you have a blueprint where you know what your child, or you have an incline as to where you want your child to be, you would definitely be conscious. It's when you do not care, you're not bothered, you're not perturbed about where you want them to be, that you leave things to chance, that you leave things to well, anything goes, right? I remember when we were growing up, there was never a time, even when he was not physically present, that he was not there with us. There were certain things that were silently not rules, but they were just not permitted around the house. For instance, your association. He won't tell you the kinds of friends to keep, but low key, there are some people you will not just bring to the house because he had this. I don't know if you should call it a framework. He would only correct you about something you did once, and with the way he would speak to you about it, you will feel it. I remember he only hit me once, and while at it, my mom was laughing. Are you flogging her really? Because what's this? He never would take to punitive measures. He would talk sense into you. So we used to prefer him flogging us to him talking to us, because once he's done, you go back and there's this sober reflection. And that brings me to the next question. What inspired you, sir, to adopt a legacy conscious approach to parenting, and how has it impacted your family dynamic?
Well, like we have said, in any child you bring to this world, you remain part of that child, right from the date of birth all through the school days till the child is matured and become who God said that child would be. So, in my own particular example, I look at every child that are nurtured today as a potential that will most likely nurture me tomorrow. So, investment in your child is never a waste. If you are cautious of this, and I must remark here that those days when my children were still in school, the day they will be taking their vacation, we are collecting their school reports, examination reports. I'll go with optimism. If you are the parent that you are lucky enough, fortunate enough to have a brilliant child, if your child takes first position, as soon as you see the report card, you become happier even than the child. Therefore, in order not to disgrace yourself, and what do I mean? If your child comes last in the class, I'll pick the report sheet, you become the saddest man on earth. So we had to put in place. It's not a duty for me alone, the father, but I think in collaboration, support from the mother, that is my own wife, we're able to build a blueprint of what we think these children will look like between when they were born, now, and when they will grow in future. So that principle guiding us to be cautious of the fact that if you don't put in anything to the child, you cannot get anything out of the child. Try your best possible. What we parents, some parents don't know is that it's not a monetary inducement alone that you use in bringing up your child. Like she has rightly said, I think of all the children I had, there's hardly anyone that I had beaten with a cane. Despite the fact that in my earlier years I was a teacher, where people were using canes on pupils, their children. I don't believe in the use of the cane. One thing is try to study your child. Let your child grow in you. What do I mean? Be cautious of what the child is doing. Empathize the disposition of the child. And as he or she grows up, you understand yourself to the extent that if I'm at home, they are in school, she can confirm this, and they develop a headache, I will know. If I travel, any of my children is sick, and that time there was no telephone, I will know. I'll simply come back to say, oh, what went wrong? If a child misbehaves, the Bible recommends that you use the rod to correct the child. To me, that is not the case. One, that child may have misbehaved, perhaps out of ignorance, perhaps mistakenly. By the time you start scolding, you start beating, you are creating a sense of nervousness on that child. That child will not love you. That child will not trust you. That child will not be open to you. So you commit a little, or you misbehave now, I can decide to be quiet about it. Because when a child misbehaves, the next thing is when the father is coming. He or she becomes nervous, expected to be beaten. No, I'll leave you. You welcome me. I will ask you to bring water for me. I have seen what you have done. I will allow you to settle down. They call you, sit with you, and begin to explain to you why you must not do it. That is what a child remembers better than using the cane. Parents must be aware of the fact that of all investments, the one on the child is the greatest. Because of the three lives of every man or woman, the life of your father, the life of yourself, and the life of the children, the best to pray for success is that of the children. Reason is that as a father, my father brought me up to this life. He has done a little for me. He has done much for me. I also do for myself. A time will come when I cannot continue to do for myself. That time my father has gone, my mother has gone. I am now becoming weak. The only person that will help you to complete the journey, the race, the relay, is the child. So when we are guided by this principle, it behoves on us as parents to give the very best we can afford to the child. Like I said before, at the summary, it's not the quantum of money you spend on the child, but the love, the commitment, the assurance you give to your child that you are there for him or her. Come sun, come rain, and having the child to trust you. This is fundamental. The child must learn to trust you, that you come into him or her and she is in you. That is why wherever you are, the feeling is always there. I have not seen my daughter for a long time. As you are thinking of that, your daughter will also be thinking, I have not seen my father for a long time. It's like telepathy. So I advise that as parents, we do whatever is within our reach. Even those things that are not within our reach, we explain it to the child that we ought to have done this or that, but that we are not able to do it. Please bear with us. I think these are the fundamentals. I think these are the principles. I think these are the what a role model parents should be.
Wow. Him talking brought back a lot of memories. One of such occasions is, I would say, the very first time I had a major failure in my life. And okay, he went with me to check my results, and on our way back, he got me food and asked, "What drink will you take?" I was shaky. I had let him down. He had so much faith in me. The backstory was okay, I was going to get a car upon graduation because he always never failed to remind me of how very brilliant, how very amazing I was, how very intelligent I was. And I could see the disappointment in his eyes when he saw my results on the board that day. The disappointment was that you have the brains. What happened? But he could not verbally express. Of course, because we have this, like he called it, I don't know if it's telepathy. Every time I had a challenge, for every time I was sick, for every time I was broke in school, he just magically would know. And he would call me like right in the brink of the moment and say, "Loretta, something is not okay." I'm like, "Daddy, I'm fine." You say, "No, just tell me. I already know everything's not fine." Like we used to ask him, "Do you used to fly?" They fly. So we got home and I was, you know how you brave up and you're expecting him to shout down thunder and brimstone. Not him. He kept quiet. It was at 4 a.m. the next morning. He woke me up and he said some things that I've held on till this moment. He said, "I made a vow to myself that I was going to be the last illiterate, the last poor person in my lineage. And your results right now make me afraid that I have failed. So the failure wasn't mine. He didn't see it as my own and something to condemn me over. He took it upon himself, and there and then I made a vow never again. So if you were wondering what fuels my zest, what fuels my enthusiasm or determination to be and to do, to dare to be audacious, he's sitting right here. He's sitting right here. And that day I told myself, never again. And that's why legacy consciousness is a thing, is a big thing for me. Because he showed me that together. So that when push comes to shove, he would see you as part of his growth. It was mind-blowing. Like, did you read books? Was there anybody you were modeling after? What really fueled this resolve? What pushed you to be this person? Because I think about it every single time. How did you come upon this persona? Because it was rare. Now we're talking about intentional parenting, right? Dating back to many decades before now, when parenting was just anything goes, he was intentional and deliberate. Is there anybody that modeled it to you? How did you come upon this? Like, how?
You see, in our time, in the late 60s, early 70s through the 80s, there used to be this dichotomy in the family that you know a father, you know a mother, and you know the children. A time a father manages to buy the black and white television, switches it on in the evening, and tell the children you cannot watch. Or he's going out, he locks the door, lock the gate, lock the kitchen. Does not show concern about the child. By so doing, most of the children were not close to their parents. I watched this and I saw this from our neighbors. So I wouldn't want to use that as a case study. I'd rather choose to use my first son, who coincidentally is the elder brother. I learned to watch it from him when he was quite a toddler. He was always inquisitive. And I want parents to always realize that the children understand a lot of what is going on. You want to choose their school, for example, take them along. You want to buy food for them, sample their opinion as to what their may likely be, and then you go ahead. And if you cannot afford what the child needs, it's not enough to shout him or her down. Why must you want chocolate? Why are you asking for rice? And at our time, it used to be a bar. But I explained to the child that while you are interested in rice, it is a bar that I can afford. One of the days, my first son looked sober, came back to the house. I could read him that he had so many things on his head. He wasn't ready to share. So I brought him closer to me. And by the time I discussed with him, took him along the line, he now explains to me that they have just released their results. He has about 2 courses to go over. And then I said, okay, what I put in those courses? He said they wouldn't know. I said, I know what I put. And the young man said, Daddy, how do you know? I said, one, your mother wanted you to be a medical doctor. Your father wanted you to be an engineer. There was conflict of interest between father and son. And that time I never cared to ask the young man what his interest was at that moment. So because the mother worked in the hospital, I knew that it is better for me to succumb to a request that our first son should read medicine. So I went ahead. Unfortunately, the boy was so young, he wasn't actually matured, maybe 40 years or even 30 years old. So he had a problem making it at his job or posting. And I foresaw that that was likely to happen. So I got him to go into the pre-degree program. In reading pre-degree, I was advised that he should read microbiology. By year 2, he could make a transfer to read medicine. And then I went to the medical college, asked them, and the university told me, look, for him to read medicine, the transfer will cost about 30,000 naira. I said, wow, that's big money. How will I raise 30,000 naira? And I went back to my son. I said, okay, we have two major problems. Problem number one is we'll be looking for 30,000 naira. Problem number two, we'll be looking for you to pass all your courses. Because for medicine, you have to pass all your courses. So let's make a promise. If you can give me good credits in your courses, even when 30,000 naira is tied in this car, held by the devil, I'll go there to pluck it. Then you cross over. Do we make it? It was an agreement. So the young man went ahead and made his papers in the program. Then before he wrote his last semester examination, I had saved 30,000 naira. And each day as he come to the house pretending the money wasn't there and telling him, well, keep your side of the bargain. So when he came back home and he was so happy, he has made it. I said, very good. So the following morning I went to the university to purchase the faculty transfer forms. I was disappointed that they were not going to allow people to do faculty transfer that year. My 30,000 naira became useless. That was not the issue. The issue now is what happens to my son. How will I tell him? When he came back, I sat him down, God, this is what has happened. What next do we do? They said that they have been offered admission to proceed to microbiology. So right from the one, I knew something was wrong. The foundation is wrong. That boy's enthusiasm reading microbiology would not be the same as if you were to have crossed over to read medicine. So I began to prepare my mind for anything, even when the worst has to happen. The psychology has been demolished. So that was how we started. So I was encouraging him. When I knew within myself that he was not happy, I was equally not happy. So if there is a situation where you are not happy, your child is not happy, keep your own sorrow within yourself so that you can encourage him or her. That is just the best way to manage the situation. So eventually, he got to his final year and he had this problem. Before he explained to him, I told him, you even tried more than I expected. You tried what? More than I expected. I thought along the line you would repeat one class or the other. Now we were able to get to final year, you wrote all your exams, just 2 courses. My guy, you tried. You did not fall my hand. I have impressed on his psychology. He became so happy. I said, okay, have you eaten? Let's go for food. As we were eating, he saw me very, very happy. Then I was now able to regain my child back again. Look, life is not always successes, carry first position, sometimes make provision for freedom. The teacher says. So we now went back to the university. I met with the dean, started with the office of the dean. I asked questions. We discovered that one of the courses was missing. And my son was too shy at the age of 13, 14. He entered the university, but now he's just about 17, even below 18. He's going to come out. Sometimes the size of the lecturers frightened him. So by the time I spoke with the dean, he said, we'll go to the HOD. Demonstrate their results. If it cannot be seen, come back to me. Then the other one, the HOD will advise. And the lady advised, let him come, we take the paper before you know. The story was that this boy was able to make it after the second attempt. And he now left. I told him, go and do your youth service, you go for masters. When he came back, he preferred to go to the University of Ibadan, UI. So all agreed, I sponsored him. On his way to Ibadan, I told myself, I woke up one night and said, supposedly by the films, what will I fall back on? So I sent money to somebody in University of Benin, get me postgraduate forms, so that in case there is disappointment in Ibadan, it will fall over to Benin. Please always make alternative arrangement for your child. Don't leave him or her to nature. That could be very, very dangerous. Went to Ibadan, he could not get his admission. Came back home, wanted to show disappointment. Then I said, no, you still have a test to take about 3 days from now in Benin. He said, but Daddy, I did not buy their forms. I said, your name is already there. You filled the forms while we were in Ibadan. He now went to the University of Benin, read his master's program, came out, went for his PhD. The irony of faith is that make good plan for your child. The mother wanted him to become what? A doctor. Is that not true? And I wanted him to become what? An engineer. Today, that boy got a job. I will tell you the place he got the job. He now got his PhD in environmental quality management. He was now employed as environmental engineer. He is a Dr. Adams. That Dr. Adams fulfilled the mother's wish for him to become a doctor. Now whether medical or not medical. I wanted him to be an engineer. God now gave him a job. Just last week when he called me, he said, Daddy, I am now a senior environmental operations engineer. I said, which one now? Wow, you are not a senior doctor, but you are a senior engineer, which means by destiny, I saw it that you were going to be an engineer. And you are an engineer. What am I trying to explain? Start with your child. Grow with your child. When there are frustrations, quickly overcome it even faster than the child, so that you can help him or her to manage the situation. You cannot gather still back, but you can quickly overcome it by alternative arrangement. That principle helped me. So when a child fails, first and foremost, take it as a challenge, even on you. Second, encourage the child before you encourage yourself. Just tell the child, no problem, you still have another opportunity. Sometimes failure opens new opportunities. This many parents do not know.
Wow. Coming to see now when I'm fully grown up, still growing, right? Coming to see the mindset behind a lot of these things just leaves me awestruck. You know, the way he would take everything, it was as if nothing got to him. I would say my dad was really, really, really very present. Even till now, there was a day someone bashed my car and my phone kept ringing. And he doesn't, when he calls me once and I don't pick, that's it. He just gets it that, okay, I'm not close to my phone. He calls me twice, something is up. The third time, I stop whatever I'm doing and I must speak. He said, hello, what's wrong with you? God, Daddy, I've done it again. Somebody just bashed my car and that's what happened. He said, hey, I knew something was wrong. That's why I kept calling. I wanted to make sure you were okay. Hope you are not hurt. He would call me when precisely I was spending my last 1,000 naira. Talking about physical presence and, of course, spiritual one. I don't know how he was doing that. It was not just me, really. My sister would say the same of him. My younger ones too would tell the same story of him. He was actively present. Remember when I had to go fix my mess, I went back to school for my PGDE. He called the director of the institute and introduced himself as Papa Loretta. And after that call, the man called me and said, who the hell is that man? I'm like, sir, what happened? He said he has given you to me as a daughter. Look after my daughter for me. If anything goes wrong, I'll come and hold you. Who is he? Like, you have come back for a postgraduate diploma. And I said, sir, see, my father would never see that I've grown up. This is me as that little girl. He would forge relationships with people who mattered in your life, however old you were. He would send me airtime when I was doing NYSC. You are traveling back to your place of primary assignment. He will tell you how much do you think you have. It's not allowance they are giving to you. Come on, take your transport fare and be going. He was present every single step of the way. Is that person that even if I failed, I knew he could separate the love he had for me from what I failed at. And that alone gave me a lot of zest to keep going, you know. And one thing I would say I took from him too was his love for learning. He would go to bed really early. He used to say that if you start your day early, you would have done a lot of things before a lot of people will wake up, and you'll be steps ahead of them. So at 8, 9, he never could sit through a movie till the end. He would doze off, go to his room and sleep. 1 o'clock he'll be awake. You're going to pee and somebody's on his bed seated and he's reading. I'll go to his library and pick some books. I picked that curiosity from him. I would read and I'm like, okay, why is this man interested in this book? He's thinking and everything. He was actually always favored amongst a lot of people because of his intellect, his ability to morph into, like, meander into a situation and just thrive excellently in it. I used to say that I wish people could take him as a specimen and study him, really. And I'm glad that we're doing this, and I'm glad that this is going to be a legacy piece for a lot of people to study. You have seen me, you know me. Bakins, we've been together for a while now. You can see the excellence with which I work. He gave me that. He would go any length to make sure that that event is okay, no matter what sacrifices he had to make. He would study like he was still. He said when he had his PhD, he said they told him you can now read. I said, Daddy, what have you been doing? I don't understand. It was always he said, no, I've been studying since now I can buy newspapers and read. He would leave such huge shoes, such ginormous shoes that we always wonder, how would we ever feel these shoes? Really. And coming from a stark illiterate background, that was a lot for us, really. He just mildly said it, I'm Dr. Adams, and you feel like, imagine having to go through school, even when you had children, and still topping your class. That's the level of excellence he exudes. He goes in with all his heart, and usually very quietly. You would never notice until it's time for big dogs to come and bark. Do you get? It just see, you can notice if you are observant, you can see the awe with which I'm saying all of this. He was very, very present. He was attentive. He would listen. He could read through every frown on your face, every smile that you held. He could sacrifice even. Okay, let me say it out here. I remember that day when you had to sell your bank draft because I had to go to school. Because I was a highly sensitive child, I saw these things. I knew them, and that was why it hurt me really that I did not give him the grades he wanted. No, it wasn't going to be for just him. It was going to be my contribution to the legacy he was building. Do you get? He would do it so effortlessly. He wanted to go for his master's and I was going back to school. He saw the bank draft he bought just so I could go to school the way he wanted me to. And he would say, just go. Don't ever think that you are there by yourself. Now, when I was going to school, he gave me a pebble he got from Jerusalem on his pilgrimage there. He said, whenever you think you are alone, know that I'm always there. I still have that pebble. So when I was feeling all by myself, I hold it and squeeze it. My father is here with me. My father is here with me. So when he was not there, he was still there. So you are not doing the things he say you should do. You are doing them because he has sold it to you as something as valuable. Do you understand? I believe as Bakins, if we could do this for our children too, you're not telling them to be people pleasers, not at all. He sells you the narrative because he has sold you a future wherein our lineage will no longer suffer on account of our educational background or whatever inefficiencies or inadequacies we had because we came from that background. You know where you say this ends with me, and that's how I parent today. There are a lot of things that were passed on that I know that I must smoothen out, that I must, of course, add some finesse to, and I tell myself this ends with me, and I will pass on that legacy to my daughters too, so that they will carry the tradition into the future. That beacons is legacy consciousness, and I'm glad we are hearing from him today, and I hope you are taking notes for real. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for embodying these values and for taking out time to pass them along the best you could, because those days it's not like it was trendy, it was not the in thing, but you would do them. To a lot of people it was stupidity, how would you be doing this, how would you be doing that? I said this man will call and tell you that, okay, this lecturer, how far, I want to speak with this person. I'm like, you'll be feeling embarrassed. Why are you making me feel like a child? But he knew what he was doing. And the lecturers will say, this one that your father has put you in my care, please, they will run around for you. They'll literally carry your matter on their head, because he would always reach out and say, thank you so much for looking after my child. That is presence. It's not like you said, it's not about the quantum of money you have. It's about the intentional, deliberate consciousness of having a blueprint and telling yourself, this is how I want to be remembered. Again, thank you. Thank you very much. But now, it makes me wonder, were there challenges you encountered on your way? Because you didn't have it figured out. There may have been glitches. I'll fix them. What kept you going?
You see, in our time, like I said, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we had a lot of challenges growing up with our own parents. If your father is an illiterate, is poor, it is not enough to condemn your destiny. Set a benchmark. Tell yourself that, well, I'm the son of a poor man. I would have loved to be the son or daughter of a rich man, but here I am. It's not your making. Remember, it may not be your father's making. Your father or mother may have been striving to give you the best, but you cannot afford it. You now set a benchmark for yourself. Like she said at the beginning of the program, when I was growing up, when I got married, I grew up with a maxim that I was going to be the last poor man in my family. That my generation, starting with my children, the difference will be as clear as 7 up. I told myself this. And I told my wife that we are going to make a lot of sacrifices, and we are going to suffer. If you don't want your child to suffer, you should be ready to do the suffering. And in the evening, which is very important, you must now begin to suffer so that your child can have a breakthrough. This is fundamental. So as we were moving, we still had families, extended families to carry. So what helped me in my own situation was confiding in them. They knew we don't have. And because they knew we don't have, they cooperated with us. I remember when my wife was going to school of nursing to write the entrance, she was in the tummy. And people said, no, this woman is almost, the EDD is closed, you cannot travel. I said, look, you can travel. So I am not a first man. That time, no GSM. So I went to the police station, discussed with the DPO. This is my situation. This lady is traveling from north to south to write exam, take the interview. I want you to help me one way. I said, what? I said, how do you do signal from one police post to another? So that I will tell my wife, once you deliver, I give her a code. Send a message to the DPO of the nearest police station. Let them send a message to us in Ibosa. I'll be there with you as quickly as taxis can take me. Build confidence in your family. And my wife became confident. She went there, and the lecturer was saying, Madam, I hope you not deliver here. When she now came, she came exactly 2 weeks after the interview. Then there was a major problem. So challenges were always there. What do we do? I said, no, you have to go with this baby. I'll get somebody to help you. It was even the interview she was now going on. She went to write the entrance first and came back. And I did not tell my friends because they would discourage me. The baby is too tender. So I released her, and my wife gave her money, go to Benin, talk to so person, will follow you to the east. She went and came back with the baby. 2 or 3 weeks later, the admission came, and there was problem. The problem was now, will you release your wife at this? They are saying this little Lori must go to school. That's why I call her little Lori. You must go. As little as you have, people are telling me, that littleness, go and grow it. So I'm happy that today, she to you is not little, but always little to me, because it's attached to the decision I took. Finances. When we had to come from the north, we had no money for big schools. So I now went to look for poor schools, and I trusted them, discussed with them. Let them go to these schools. That was how we started. They were actually glitches. Then there was a point you make now, reading. I think my mentor on that aspect is Lechi for Bafemi Awolowo, who said that while men are struggling in the daytime, struggling to achieve this, to make money, then himself is just around thinking. Then in the night, those men that like your cameraman, they will now go home in the night and sleep. And one of them will now wake up and start reading. And something happened just last night. I'm working with a team, and at about 11 p.m. I told them I was tired, that I need to take a snap and join them. While sleeping, my brain was still on the job, and I had them looking for a document of 1944. In my subconsciousness, I knew they were searching for that document. Then I woke up and I said, Barrister, let me have that file. I went straight to the page. I got it. Studying, reading helps to improve man. Again, why parents must be there for their children. If your daughter is sure of you, you have made her to succeed by 60%. When my son was doing his PhD in university, he did his proposal. The day he was to make the presentation, there was a problem. A particular lecturer told him that your topic is not relevant, you cannot make it, blah, blah, just like that. And the young man called and told me. I was about 130 kilometers away from him. He called me the late evening. Then I told myself, all that this young man needs is confidence. And the only person who can build that confidence in him is you. So early in the morning, before 5 a.m., I called my driver, Bullet, come over. We are moving. And he came and said, okay, take me. I got to the hall before my son, where he was to make the presentation. And when he came, I went to greet him, where he was setting up his slides. Immediately he saw me. I said, you are blessed. Daddy is here. I saw the level of confidence in him. Again, when you grow your child, she's a living witness, because this happened to her. When I was doing my PhD postdata, she sat behind me. I think the whole of the persons I knew, I was the only person who had done a PhD presentation without answering a question. 3 questions were asked. A professor took one. She took the second question, even though she was an undergraduate then. Then the special advisor to the governor took the 3rd question. Then I was asked to come down from the podium. If I had not showed enough confidence in the little girl, little Lori, little, the day of my PhD, she wouldn't have been there to save me. This now brings me to the question of creating time for your child. It's an essential ingredient. What your child needs majorly may not be money. Your presence, your feeling, your concern, especially when they are downcast, be there for them. Then on Christmas Day, do not be too busy not to be there for your children. So in times of joy, let them see you. In times of disappointment, sorrow, be there with them. Lift that disappointment from them immediately. Lift it. Do not start cajoling your child. One must still fail. You are the child of, you are the daughter of your mother. The father talking now. Then the mother will say, I'm not surprised. Your father does not show concern. Blah, 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 blah. If not, so please, no matter the circumstance, empathize with your child. Console your child. Let the child know that you are there for her. Her success, her joy is yours, her sorrow is yours. These are things that make good that can lead to legacies.
Wow, there's so much to unpack, so much to learn, so much to take note of, and so much to begin to implement. When you talk about reliability, he was always, he still is. If he tells you, I am coming, even if even if the world is going to end, like he said, if the money was with the devil and he was going to have to go and pluck it, he will do that. And he did every single time. We went into every battle knowing that he was fighting alongside us, not behind us, but beside us. And there were many traits he had, many that I prayed for in the person I was going to get married to. You see, your children are looking at you. They will either want to settle with someone like you or run away from someone like you. For him, that reliability was something I held on to. When he was not there, it felt like a part of me was not there because he had this way of just speaking into your spirit. He had this way of gassing you up to believe in yourself so much that, oh my god, you could attempt anything. Yes, we, like you said, my brother got into school really early. That was, you can understand how super smart we were, still are. You can imagine how much faith he had. I was not even at home. I went all the way to live by myself to school, but he had faith in me, and that was why it really hurts me that much that I dropped the bar. And like you said, it was largely due to immaturity, getting into school at, was it 15 or 16, going in there, and I didn't even know what was required of me. I didn't understand that what you did in 100 level had any relevance to what you were doing in final year. This is not me making excuses for myself, right? I've gone through it a million times in my head, and I know it will happen again, if not for anything, because I know that my job is to continue a legacy. You talked about being there for your children through challenges, and being there for them, of eating from the same big tree after Christmas in a tree, and we sit down together and eat. He always would say that would lead us to our next questions. Next question to involve us be in continuing the legacy. He always would say, I'm just going to paraphrase because he will say it in my language. Oh, boy, I didn't know what you look for now. It's life, in life it will always be you and your brother or your sister, and it's always going to be you and your wife. My mom will offend us, and you say, wait, do you want me to support you? You will leave here tomorrow and leave me with her. Of course I'll take sides with her, and I know definitely you go back later and say, Ama, that thing you did was not okay. Don't push these children to despair. Don't provoke them to the point where they will now want to rebel against authority. Do you understand? That was the parent, that was the father that he was to us. He was always, I don't know how he kept that mind. I don't even understand it. He just made us very involved in each other's lives. He just made it so that we were always looking out for each other. I became a tutor to my younger one just so that he could meet up with his grades. And my mom bought me a local oven to say thank you that my brother's grades got better. They were rewarding us literally for being there for each other. So even till now, something is going on in one person's life. Hello, sister, sister, we are carrying it because he made us see that no, you cannot leave anyone behind. At my wedding, my brother did above and beyond. He said daddy would make sure that everything went like I am daddy junior. My god, it was annoying. We didn't have sibling rivalry. Yes, there will be banters and squabbles here and there, but he always made this. Where's your brother? I don't know. It is your duty to know. You must know what's going on in their lives. Have you called this person? Have you, even when we came to see him yesterday, he called my brother and my sister to tell them, okay, you speak to her children, I'm here. He always would do it. It just came like unconscious competence to him. It's not like he learned it from his parents. So don't say because my parents did not model it, then I cannot do it, right? We are a testament to that. Maybe that's why I'm even drawn to teaching in excellence in parenting. Who knows? Because he modeled it to be in the best way that he could. I don't think I saw him reading any parenting books. I never saw some in the shelves because trust me, I went through the content of his shelves. But at the end of the day, like you said, he looked at his neighbors and their dynamics and he said, no, this is not going to be me and my children. And today we have that relationship that a week does not go by and we don't hear from him. Something is wrong. Like if daddy, we'll call each other and like, Popsi never call you. What's happened? Yeah. He will not say, I'm sorry, I traveled, there's no
let,
network.
let me
That's
help
what
you. Let me help you. When I was coming into Abuja about 3 days ago,
okay.
I told myself that I was not going to tell little Lori that I'm on my way to Abuja. Then I called my son and I warned him, do not tell your sister that I am coming. Between Lokoja and Abaji, I told myself my daughter Loretta is already aware I'm coming. That the consciousness must have arisen in her. For me not to embarrass her, it is better for me to now inform her that I am coming. I knew in spirit she was already conscious that I was on the way. No doubting about that. So when I now came in, and the first person I called was my son. Did you tell your sister that I'm coming? He was laughing. He was laughing. Then this afternoon at about 2 p.m., my son called me. Can I do 10 minutes with you? So, well, I'm engaged in a conference, but yes, you should do 10 minutes with me because I don't know what he was going to tell me. I was leading the proceeding. Then I told the vice, I said, look, let me look at the table. I was quick with my son. One, always create time to hear your child. Busy business should wait when your child walks in. Today, turn their children away to enable them do business. So my son now said, I have a confession to make. I said, go ahead. Said all these days, there's something I'm hiding from you. Though it is for good, I thought I could keep it till December before telling you. I said, who now told you to tell me? He said, I just feel that you are already aware of that thing, whether I tell you or not. My mind is telling me you are already aware. I said, but do you know that what you want to tell me, actually, I'm aware? Should I tell you? He said, yes, he knows. I said, okay, what is DNA? He was trying to describe it. I said, no, DNA is the relationship between a father and the children. That's the correct meaning of DNA. Not the one you go to test in the laboratory. The DNA is just the rapport between you and your children. So any of my children can be predicted because God has done it in such a way that we have been able to bring them up in such a way. So by the time he told me the story, I said, do you know what happened? What you were hiding from me, I was equally hiding my own from you. He said, yes, it's now I catch you, daddy. I know, but I could not cope. And I said, in my own case, I wanted to call you later in the night to give you progress report. When you now have more than one child, by the time the second one comes, the next thing you do is to bond them together. Bond them. Let them be their brother's keeper. There's one thing I keep on telling them. I say, okay, very soon you will have a family bank. He formed the Adams dynasty. Whether we are happy, anything happens in the family, somebody posts it here. That is what I use in monitoring them. If you wait for you for 10 minutes, you've not responded to what is posted, somebody will call you to say, what is going on? You bond your children. I remember when we were marched down the staircase, we had problem getting money to pay for their big for the big schools around us. We took them to Samuel Ajayi Crowder Memorial School, far, far away. Then I had a very good rickety, very good rickety, let me use that word, motorcycle. Sometimes it will refuse to start. The time we use in pushing it will be more than the time they would have used in trekking to school. And I say, wow. So I now discover that in times my motorcycle cannot take them to school as they are going, carry our bag, hug it this way, hug his own the other way.
Oh,
The first day I caught them, I say, God, the age difference was not much at all. Why is it so? So I now told myself that my plan to board my children has begun to yield dividends. If they can continue like this, it means that if anything unexpected happens to me, that boy will be able to take care of the sister. Yesterday, there was a drama, I think, in this room. When the children came, and I called the girl following her, I said, Dr. Hope, your children are here. The first daughter, Ivana, was annoyed, say, oh, we called you yesterday. Do you love us? Well, do you miss us? You said no, which means you don't love us. Big fight. I was not explaining. So when they left, I called Dr. Hope. I said, call your children back again. Tell them you love them. It's still the same process of bonding. So it's not something I read in papers. It's something I experimented, and I'm proud of it. So even if I travel tomorrow, because it also takes me to the concept of when you are gone and the inheritance, and children start crying. As I'm here now, if I die today, I know exactly how my property will be shared.
yeah, he says that.
I already know.
Yeah.
I will write a will because I will look at the challenge. The pattern is already spelled out. So I think if I've answered your question, I want parents to try as much as possible to bring their children together. You don't start it at floor 6. You start it on the ground floor. Before the children now grow, they are already together.
Hmm. He spoke and I got teary. I remember when I was leaving home, my brother came to me and said, yeah, you're big head, you're going away now. I know how you are. If anything is wrong when we ask you, you say you're okay. He called me. He gave me his credit card. He wrote the pin and gave me and said, it will not expire in the next 3 years at least. Whenever you are stranded, you don't have to ask me. Just go and take some money. I left home with love and with knowing that they had my back. That's the family I was raised in. He did that for us. He and my mom too, because that one was a warrior. She would say, my children cannot stay at home when I'm working and they've not paid their fees. For what? Why am I working? What do I need savings for? They invested heavily in our education. Yes. Seriously, when people talk about sibling rivalry, it just makes me see that they have not done enough in actually bonding their children. I am a testament to the fact that children can grow up and not have to fight. Children can grow up and actually love each other and have each other's back. No, you're not doing it because you want to please anybody. You are doing it because they've sold it to you. Like forever and ever, you're always going to have these people. It's not like you have any business. He didn't. My brother didn't have any business doing what he did. He did it from a place of love. No, it's not black tax. I did it from a place. I think I used that card was when he even sent me on an errand and told me, okay, you go ahead and use it. He raised us to be interdependent, but independent regardless. You go and build for yourself, but still stay connected for when you will need each other. And that's something, Beacons, something to really, really adopt. Thank you so much again, sir. But now, You see, traditions are passed on, legacies are built as something to last or outlast us, right? But how do you balance honoring family traditions with adapting to changing cultural norms and values? Of course, we know the Gen Z and everything now. How do you make sure that, okay, you are continuing what you are building while still staying relevant or adopting the new changing dynamics in the world?
Well, the world is changing, but there are so many things that should remain static. One, the love of the family. The only adjustment you make is on account of age, which of course brings in wisdom for you to be able to manage your family.
Mm,
Now, if you and your members of your family are cautious of the fact that you are one, you are the society at the macro level, you are able to bond, like I said, you have no problem. The world is changing. Not many a father or a mother will drop the ATM card on the table today because once your son grabs it, you are gone. But the irony of it is that sometimes I will get to the bank, I will call a baristas. I mean, UBA, what's my PIN number? Because sometimes you become confused when you have maybe more than one account. I called him, I mean, UBA, says this service or correct? I say correct, I'm with correct. He told me the PIN code. That was the only time I was able to withdraw money. Things have changed to the extent. Then, two, my car keys are always on the table. One thing I found out is that there is no day any of the children, whether I'm in or out, in short, they prefer to go closer to the car to use it to town and come back than when I travel because they wouldn't want anything that will upset the dynamics. Because I have trusted them that they should be responsible, I can drop the car keys, put fuel. Yesterday, about 3 days ago, before I started this journey, fuel was scarce. So I told one of them, this fuel has 20 liter, the other one has 5 liter. So in case you want to use the one with 20 liter so that you are not dropped on the way. Then the children too must learn to trust the parents. A lot of things you see on the internet today may not be meant for you, may not be meant for your family. That is why the traditional setting versus modernization should be balanced by the parents. Your children should be able to know at every time their true identity.
mm,
Know fully well that, oh, if I take 2 million from my father's account now, it will affect the school fees for the last born. Then I run to Canada, I run to the US or UK. No, it will have negative effect on the other one. Do not, because of modernization, do it. The family is a traditional institution that should carry values. These values must not be subject to what I may call modernization to sweep them away. The values are that if it is good with you as an elder sister, your younger one should be able to eat from you. But the culture of the white man is that your own is already okay, you forget the other ones. That is why I call the family a traditional institution. We should balance. We should be able to balance a situation where everybody is cautious of what you do as a member of the family and what you do in interdependence on your siblings and on your parents. So, often a time, we must not allow external influences to sweep away the values, the core values of the family. That is helping me, and it will continue to guide how I relate with my wife, my children, their friends. Because as we are discussing now, sometimes parents don't encourage their children to have friends.
True.
But I do. What I do is I must ask you, who is your friend? About 4 years ago, my daughter came and I asked, what about Faith? That's your short friend. Has she graduated? Say, no, she dropped out. You know, daddy, the father died. So she could not continue because she could not pay 2 years school fees. I say, you are a bad girl. Did you tell me? She said, no. I said, go and look for her, bring her to the house. Later in the evening, the little girl came. And I said, what's your problem? She said she's owing about 68,000 naira. That's why she cannot graduate. I went inside and told my wife, I said, look, we have to help this girl because she's a friend to our daughter. If she's happy, my daughter will be happy.
Hmm.
So if my daughter will graduate and Faith is still in the university, that friendship has ended. My daughter cannot help her, but you and I will help her. So since she's a girl, go and give her this envelope and tell her to go and pay her school fees.
Hmm.
So please, the rest, if you don't show interest in the threat to your children, you cannot raise them adequately enough because their friends has peer influence on their life,
Hmm.
either positively or negatively.
Wow. Oh, oh my God. That's mind blowing. Wow. 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 This is so much. I'm not just going to treat this as just another episode. I'm actually going to take notes. I'm glad that this is happening, and I'll very much keep this, like I said earlier, as a legacy piece so that the children would watch it too and glean from it. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much again. In rounding up, we have a few questions and then we're done. Thank you so much for the time. I know we've eaten deep into your meetings already. How do you handle disagreements or differing opinions within the family regarding the legacy you're trying to build? You know, us children, we don't really see into the future like you futurists do. They say what an old man sees when he's sitting down, a child will never see when he climbs on a mountain. For instance, reminds me of when then you said you saw over your dead body, will I settle down with someone, and you meant it and all. And I may never have said it to you, I can never appreciate you enough, because that stance, even if it was painful then, actually shaped the trajectory of my life. I don't think I'll be here right now at this moment doing this with you if you did not stand your ground then. There are times where as parents we have to do those things, make those decisions, even if they are painful. How do you handle how did you handle it then, knowing that your saying no was hurting me, yet you were saying into the future and saying that no, this person will not be able to carry on the legacy. This person will not pair well with with my daughter because I have seen the future and this person does not align. How were you able to deal with the pain? It was a conflict. I know my child, I want her to be happy. However, I must say no to this because it doesn't go well with the future. How are you able to cope with all of that?
Yes, in the early stage of the life of any child, you have to take decision on behalf of that child. Every minor has his or her rights, has goals for him or herself, but does not know the implication of such goals. So that is why, as a father or a mother, you come in to assist. Remember that you are trying to build a happy family. There are sometimes the child is more intelligent than the father or mother. It's not every time that you must impose decisions on your child. How do you now balance the situation? Is by being a listening parent.
Hmm.
When you say no to a child's request, you say no. I stand on my no. Allow that child to explain to you why he wants this and why he wants that. Then go to bed, sleep over it. The following morning, you call the child. Yesterday, we were talking. You told me you want to travel to Ghana. You have to go to Ghana. I've now realized that truly you have to go to Ghana. But must it be today? If it's not going to be today, maybe tomorrow or next, I'll be able to assist you to go to Ghana. Are you getting it? And it will come like that. It's not every time you have your way, you know, over your children. Sometimes give them room. Then when they are going wrong, the best you can do is to explain the phenomenon. Why you are saying no. And your no must not be stone cast. Sometimes we parents need to shift a little ground. Fundamentally, as I grew older in the past 5 years, I told my wife, I tell my friends that now I used to take decisions for all my children. They now, myself and the other brother now take decision for me. It's hard to believe. Please, if you want to develop a family, there is an extent you get to. It is now your children that will take decision for you as a father or a mother. Today, that tomorrow you are in charge today, holistically. You now realize that tomorrow your children are now going to drive. You used to take your children going to school, you drive them, you start moving, match brake heavily, they are headway. A time will now come when those children you were driving yesterday will now be the one to drive you to church. I don't know if you are getting me.
Yes, sir.
So, right from today, you should prepare yourself to always see the other side of that child so that he or she will become useful to you when you now turn. You know, every day of a great child is great older. Every day of an adult is great younger. Great older in the sense that each day the child is now 10 years old. Then the man is 80 years old and he's going to make 85. How young is he now on earth? Just 5 years. I don't know if you get it. While one is ascending, the other one will start descending. So at that point, if you envisage that day will come, today you must not always be antagonistic. That is just the philosophy of having differences between your children, either in thought, in ideas, or in practice. You know, so if we adopt this system, you are cautious about them. I'm trying to explain the cautious aspect of your topic. Be cautious. Always be cautious of how things will turn. Jokingly, I told my son one day, I said, I did a lavish naming ceremony for you. You will do a lavish burial ceremony for me. Was that right or wrong? I said, that time there were no video. Otherwise, you will have seen what I did in your naming ceremony. Because I know tomorrow you too will do a lavish burial ceremony for me. Now that there is video, you will video it and send it to my grave. We laughed and laughed. What I was trying to say is that I will try my best to invest in you so that tomorrow you will not allow me to suffer. That's just the meaning.
I add that that was a very funny joke because he has warned us strictly that doesn't want cows to be killed for his burial. Nobody should wait for his body to go cold. I don't want all the pop and pageantry. I'm gone. I will not see it. There'll be no recordings. Don't do it. He has told us the song we'll sing at his funeral. He offends us every single time because he will make us sing it during morning devotion. Yeah, and he'll say, oh, this is how you raise it. I'm like, not again. You're not dying anytime soon. Because I will wake up and caution you if you're not singing it this way. You are the head of the choir. You should, Daddy, please, can you just grow old first? Seriously, really, really, growing up was fun. was fun. It had its own ups and downs and all, but I'm glad that the ups and the downs have led us to this moment, and I am particularly grateful for it. The last question before we go to our tradition is: how do you envision your family's legacy impacting future generations, and what steps are you taking to ensure its continuity? Is this not a step him doing this episode with me today? Thank you so
We
much, sir. Thank you.
started the journey,
Mhm.
and when you plant a seed, it germinates, you expect it to grow. Today, all my children, I know what they are up to. They equally know what I expect of them. Like the song she was saying, when I pick up that song, I told my first son, even if he's 100 years and I'm 180 years, he will be able to sing that song when I die. I have read that in him because I see he will be crying. His son will say, he will want me to live forever, but I have to go when it is time. I also looked at her. Has she the only person who will be able to sing this song that day? Is this little
Mm-hmm.
one? She has grown with it. And now we keep that aside. You see, when you develop a legacy, it grows on its own. You don't need to fertilize it, you just need to keep it up. You know what I expect you to do. I also know what you expect me to do as a parent. Then it will go from one generation to another. I saw my grandchildren yesterday. I say, wow. When I said I was going to be the last poor man in my family, I was not saying I'm going to be rich in terms of money, but I'm going to be rich in
Mm.
terms of qualified human beings. You are one. I have transferred it to my grandchildren now. Is the legacy not continuing? So
And
if you cannot transfer it to your own
wow,
grandchildren, it means you are the one at fault. I will take you to Supreme Court.
might I add that my oldest daughter said that Grandpa, thank you so much for raising my mommy, right? She has a picture of you on her vision board and she says, you are why you and us and some other people, you are her greatest why. You are the reason why she does everything she does. You raised that very well. So looking at her, I'm like, wait, what? So these children are watching, they are learning, they are paying attention, and they are saying things. Don't just word them up as little humans, all right? Do the right thing. Do the right thing. So to end this episode, we have usually have two questions. One is a funny one. It shocked you. What parenting experience came as a shock to you, and how did you navigate it? Okay, wait for it.
Nothing along the line actually came as a shock for me because I
Wow.
had inbuilt shock absorber.
Oh, wow.
And those inbuilt shock absorber enabled me because I'm a person that can always prepare ahead of time.
Mm,
Your children, you expect the best from them, but when the best is not forthcoming, please bear with them.
mm,
And that is why I was discussing with Hope, your younger one, the other day. I said, please, all this while, you were not the very best children, but you were not the worst ones. Where you did best, I commend you. Where you were not able, I show understanding with you. I say, time will equally now come when I may not be the best father.
mm.
And if that time comes, hope will you be able to accommodate me? And
Wow.
she said yes. So why I have not had any shock is that I'm ever prepared to be there even more with my children when things are bad than when things are good. 2 months ago, your elder brother called me early in the morning when I saw the call at about 4. And he told me, look, my son is not feeling fine. I don't know if somebody can come from the village to help us. I said, why did you not call me 12 midnight? So that by now somebody will be on the way. Hope you get it. And I went to Hope. Hope said, look, daddy, by 7 or 8, I'll be on my way. So what am I trying to say? We build the families together. We expect the best, but when the worst evil come, please be there for that child. And when the worst evil come, you the child, please be there for your father. I used to tell people me to describe you. Oh, that is Adam's daughter. No,
Mm.
that girl is Adam's daughter. But
Yeah.
today they use you to describe me. Do you believe me? Today, they should use you to describe me. If that is not done, it means I failed.
Mm.
Because in your tender age in the primary, secondary school, when I come, your colleagues will call you, Daddy, your daddy has come. Your teacher will look at you as, oh, that is Adam's daughter. But as at today, they should be able to use you to describe me. It means I've succeeded.
Wow.
So no shocks.
Wow. That's profound.
No
Thank you
shocks.
so much, sir. And I will call it a night. What's your definition of excellence?
Well, yes, excellent. I define as excellence as people see technocrats. I've always tried to define the word technocrat. Who is a technocrat? Who is excellent? These two terms are difficult for us, even academics, to define. A technocrat is somebody who has had the opportunity of being exposed. That is my definition. But when you ask another person, he will tell you it's a man who has gone to university, learned too many books. You understand me? When we now come to excellence, there is nothing Jesus said when they called him good teacher. I said, no, nobody is good. Excellence is just your own imagination of the situation of man. Your imagination of the situation of man. If I tell you today I have excellent children, believe me. Then if Dangote now tell you he has excellent children, believe him. But what we now want to define the actual meaning of excellence. Excellence is just like my excellent daughter now. You've been able to meet with my simple expectation. Simple. Don't set the the judgment bar too high that you want to attain. Become excellent. Because excellent is a word that is dynamic. It exposes you to circumstances and situations that changes.
Mm.
The one who has been able to do his best is the excellent one.
Wow.
That is how I define excellence.
Wow.
The one that has been able to put in his best is just the excellent parent, is the excellent child.
Thank you so much. Should I say Daddy or Dr. Adams or Papa Loretta, whichever one works for you?
But before we round up, I want to also ask you just one very simple question.
Fine, go
Would you
ahead.
not have been happier having somebody else as a father?
Oh, I'm glad he brought it up. I would, if there was another life, if there was reincarnation, I would beg God, I'll do everything to have you as a father again, because my public speaking, my intelligence, my amazing, awesome personality, I got a lot of things from you, and indeed, mom too. Yeah, growing up, I wouldn't have wanted her to be my mom again, but I won't be this person without that balance. I got a lot from you and a whole lot from her, and that has shaped my journey up until now. Yes, there may not have been a lot of fantastic memories, but the good, the bad, and the ugly has birthed this excellent woman, and I'm grateful to God for the privilege, for the blessing of having you as a father, and of course having her as a mom too.
Finally, why did you not ask me my happiest day in life? Did you ask that question?
Because you are still here, you will still be here for many, many days to
But
come.
I will tell you, my happiest day in life was the day I went to collect your O-level result.
O level.
This is a
Oh.
secret I'll be keeping. And when I got to the principal's house, the woman was, Mrs. Gede was sick. And she told me she cannot bring out the file. Say, Mommy, please, I need my daughter's result. Please.
Wow.
Say, what's the name of your daughter? I beg, I'm not well. And I say, Loretta Adams. So you mean you are the father of Loretta?
Oh,
This is
wow.
somebody I've been
Daddy,
wanting to
don't make
see
me
all
cry.
these years. Do you know she made the best WAEC result? Let me go in and bring the result for you.
Yeah, yeah.
That sick
Been
woman
good.
became well immediately. So I appreciate you.
Thank you
That's my
very
happiest
much,
day in
Daddy.
life.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You see. Oh my God, it's giving me my flowers. So when I say listen to us on this podcast, we've been good. We've been very good from the get go. It's been a pleasure, an honor, a tremendous blessing. because this is me building my legacy too. This is me contributing my quota to the society. I'm done complaining about Nigeria and what is working or not. I am now asking myself, how can I help? How can I pitch in? And since the family is the basic unit of the society, I believe that if I can just curate conversations such as these to inspire other parents to pick up their games and be excellent too, Nigeria by extension will become a better society. I've said it often times. Stop living today like it's just going to be the end of you. You are building your legacy with every decision you're making or not, with every action you're taking or not, with everything you are doing or not. Don't short sell your children's future short. Don't
True.
shortchange them, yes. Give them the best that you can afford from where you are, and be sure that it's the absolute best, even if it's pizza or it's eba or it's amala, the best that you could afford. And like you have heard, be present. Like we always say, be active and be a listening parent. Be with them through it all, every single part of their journey, through their failures, be there, through their happy, joyful moments, be there. He was there, he still is. He never comes into town without going bending his back over to make sure that he sees us. And he was saying that when he was coming, he knew that I knew that he was coming. I think it was a week ago, the opportunity presented itself wherein I would have been able to travel. I was weighing the pros and cons. I would not be around for when the children resume school, or they would have resumed school and I'll not be present. However, I want to see my dad. I've not seen him in a long time. And less than a week later, he sends me a message and he says he's on his way. I laughed and I told my husband I manifested him into the city, and he was laughing too. You see, the relationship is not just physical anymore. I think we're not. We have now morphed into clairvoyance. You know, him knowing when we're not okay, him being there above and beyond. Will your children rather say that about you? It was not idle. He held many political positions. He was very busy. He was in the academia too. He was provost in a college of agriculture that he joined in building. He wasn't really idle, but he could. God bless Bullet, his driver. His driver would show any single, like at every the slightest notice, and say, "Where are we going?" Just so he could be there. He could show up. He told me something. He said, "Any day I ask you where are you, know I'm outside your hostel." And it was through like that for the 4 years I spent in school. Whenever he asks me where are you, I know he's coming, and he never comes empty handed. Even when we came to see him yesterday, we did not leave him empty handed. I'm grown up. I may be able to do without the things he brought, but the love behind it, the thought behind it, it means the world to me. Thank you so much, Daddy, for everything, for yesterday, for today, and indeed for tomorrow. I pray that this inspires a lot of parents. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the care. I appreciate you. I honor you. And thank you for joining me in building this legacy of mine. God bless you. Bakins,
Thank
until
you
we meet
very
again in
much.
our next episode of the Lori Brand podcast. Stay excellent.